Today's makeup look is very much an autumnal harvest season inspired makeup look in honor of Virgo season. Virgo has a lot of associations with the harvest and is often associated with goddesses of agriculture and the harvest. And so I figured it's just a great time to kind of keep the fall vibes up. I'm going to be using, I think, like basically a full face of Vieve, who has some great autumny tones, and I'm going to be using the Essential palette. There's such great shades for this time of year, and especially these kind of mustardy ones that remind me of like wheat when it's ready to harvest, because the symbol or the constellation of Virgo is a goddess or a maiden holding a wheat sheaf. So that's the plan for today. I'll talk a little bit about Virgo, a little bit about what I've learned about these folks. And yeah, stay tuned if you're a Virgo or not, because it's just a great fall makeup look. Let's get into it. I'm going to bronze the face with my favorite bronzer when I just want a subtle bronze look, which is from Vieve. It's their cream bronzer, and this is the shade Light. I already have foundation and brows done, and I'm going to go in my kind of classic placement, just shape out the face. This time of year, like I have like tan still going on here, but like my face isn't really tanned anymore, so it's kind of like evening everything out. So I just want to tie it all together. And I love using bronzer when I'm using warm tones because it just like creates this sense of connection throughout the entire complexion. So Virgo and the constellation of Virgo like has a history throughout a lot of ancient cultures. And when you try and look up like which goddess it's associated with or which specific story, there's like quite a few stories. Some people do associate it with the very well-known myth of Demeter and Persephone, and Demeter being an agricultural goddess and her daughter Persephone being taken to the underworld, and her mourning for her as she's in the underworld is essentially what winter is. And then Persephone returns and yay, we have crops growing and sunshine. So with anything really harvest related and related to any kind of maiden or virgin, you kind of get that Persephone, Demeter myth mixed up in there. But then there's also stories of Virgo being associated with the goddess Astrea, who was one of the last immortals on Earth with the humans before she decided to get immortalized as the constellation, because she was like, essentially so over being down here with the awful humans. And she was a goddess of justice and innocence. So kind of interesting, because then we have Libra coming up next and we've got the scales. So wishy-washy history, of course, but we can't deny that association with this time of year when the earth is giving its bounty, and whatever goddess that might be associated with or whatever. Yeah, that's why the theme of today is essentially just kind of creating this very glam, autumny kind of makeup look. All right, that's looking good. We're looking a little more evened out. I'm gonna go into the eyes before I do any kind of blush or lips, because just gonna see how glam they get, where this takes me. I'm gonna start with the shade Buff, which really is one of my favorite kind of mustard yellows. And I'm going to go in with quite a big brush here. And I feel like I just wanna use this as the base shade and lay it across the entire lid. Just build it up slowly. And really making sure like this color's going to be the star of the show, the base for everything. It's such a gorgeous shade. So I'm just gonna take my time blending this. In terms of Virgo personality traits, they say Virgos are very systematic and practical, and like very, like some people say like very perfectionist, but then others say it's more like they're very good at seeing all the kind of aspects of something and like putting the pieces together. Now I say this a lot when I'm doing these astrology looks. I'm not really big on the idea that you're this one zodiac and that's your personality, because then that means there's only 12 personalities. I more see it as like this symbolic idea you can channel, and if you relate, that's always great. But I don't know, maybe it's just more like a little lesson you can either learn from the sign and its symbolism, or just a kind of fun archetype to explore. Admittedly, I did get a little bit of fallout. Sometimes when I get fallout, I very carefully take like a spoolie and like try and flick it off, and it kind of works. And I'm gonna bring it sort of where the tail end of the brow is, even a little bit further. I'm gonna take a smaller brush and also bring this on the lower lash line. I think I'll bring it fairly low, like when I squint, it's like showing up right there. Now I'm gonna take this shade Delicious and start to add depth into this and dimension. I'm going to just buff it on the upper lash line and start to work it into the crease. I feel like this look calls for a little bit of drama. Taking that same shade, same brush, and then adding depth on the lower lash line, about halfway. And now I'm taking like a fluffy brush that has nothing on it and going to blend that edge that just looked a little bit too harsh. Now I want to add a little bit of brightening to this. So I'm going to take So Shy here, this white or off-white, and I'm going to brighten up the inner corner a little bit. Might want to close my eyes to do this, otherwise it kind of gets in the tear duct when I'm really going for it. And then brightening up this brow bone. And then I'm going to take this very dense, thin, compacted kind of rectangular style brush and going in with the darker brown. Just going to add the little bit more extra depth right there. Actually, I'm going to take the black. It's not quite dark enough to show up how I want it. So the black will add that little extra something before I do the lashes. And then I definitely want to use one of these gold shimmers. I'm going to use a glitter glue for this from NYX for sure. I find this glitter is more like kind of a grungy style glitter. So it might be more prone to a little bit of fallout, especially like it has a darker base. So it'll really show up if it falls anywhere. I'm going to take Carrot, which is the lighter gold. When I'm a bit worried about fallout, I might like blow this just so that if there's any little particles that are loose, they're out of the way now. And I'm going to press that there. It's been a while since I used this palette. I really do reserve it for autumn looks. There's something about it. I think a dark waterline would look really sultry with this, but I'm craving a bit of a brighter waterline. Sometimes when I do a smokier eye, I like to then brighten up the waterline to add some levity to it and some different kind of contrast before the lashes. So I'm going to go in with a brightening shade here. It's pretty subtle. It's just a creamy shade. It's not a white. It's Beige Flag from Urban Decay. Okay, I'm going to do my lashes off camera and then we will finish up this Virgo Harvest Goddess makeup look. Okay, I'm liking how this eye turned out. Like it's a bit smoky, but it's not like too much. It's kind of the perfect amount of smokiness for me these days. So I'm going to go in with the blush now, also from Vieve. This is the shade Piazza. I talked about this in my fall makeup faves because it's such a great shade to use as a topper with any kind of blush or just like on its own. And using one of these flower nose brushes that are some of my favorites for powder blush because they are so fluffy. And they sent over this one for their new collection, like Teddy collection. But anyway, look how pretty it is for autumn in and of itself. Like such a pretty handle and all that. Okay, I'm going to blend this up into that bronzer, build it up slowly, use circular motions. I might even add a little bit of a lighter shade to this as well. That is Pesca from Vieve. I think a little bit of orange will work too, especially considering the lip that I'm thinking about. I'm basically using the lighter shade to like blend out the edges and then the darker shade to have a little bit more focus. Have some lip gloss on, so let's get rid of that. Also, I'm going to take my foundation brush and just completely get rid of any pigment, or not completely, but really take away the pigment to my lips. Because I'm planning a lip shade that I don't turn to very often, but I want to try it out, which is much more of a nude. I'm going to start with the liner from Vieve that's called Velvet Sands. I used to love this liner. Like you could tell it's a little bit smaller, but I haven't used it in a long time, maybe even years. And then going in with Vieve 90s, which is kind of similar to that. Oh my God, this is weird. I'm so not used to this kind of lip. I don't know if I like it. Let's give it a try. Let's give it a try. No, 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 nay, nay. This is too much of a putty shade for me. I do not like it at all. Guys, no. This is a big no for me. Let me know in the comments if you like this lip. I don't. Pivoting to a darker lip liner from Vieve, which is Bark, which I love and I use a lot. This is just a classic kind of brown. I think, yeah, I want something a little darker. I already like that way better. It just needs that more structure because the complexion's kind of wishy-washy, warm tones. I want like something happening with the lip that doesn't look like more wishy-washy, warm tones. Does that make sense? I am now going to take another lipstick from Vieve that is Power Suit, and this is like a muddy orange. I'm just gonna go in with it lightly. I don't want it to compete too much with the eye. In fact, maybe I'll kind of mix. I'm always mixing things, aren't I? The shade I didn't like at first, but now that I have a darker lip line, maybe if I just mix a little bit of that. Yeah. I just added some little gold earrings to go with the whole vibe happening today. And I think finishing touch, I do want to add a little bit of gloss. This is not from Vieve. This is from Tower 28. And the shade is Almond. I should have mentioned this in my autumn makeup faves because it's a good gloss to go with autumn looks. Yeah, I like that. Just a little. All right. This looks very much like wheat to me, very much inspired by harvest colors. So I hope Virgos all around the world enjoyed this look, even if you're more of a spring Virgo in the Southern Hemisphere. Just fun to shake it up from the classic kind of earth goddess vibes and lean into some of the history we hear from the Greek myths around this constellation. And yeah, if you aren't a Virgo, I am not. I hope you still like this look and feel inspired to try out some autumn shades and maybe some mustard shades and golds. It really, really says kind of late September to me, which is such a beautiful time of year. It's not too hot, not too cold. There's still flowers and everything, but then there's like these autumn colors working its way into the greenery. Okay, friends, that's it for this video. And yeah, Toasty, let's take it away. All right, Toasty, just 2 more astrological signs. We got Libra and Scorpio. It's been, almost a year of doing these videos. I'm almost done. And yeah, stay tuned for my ethereal style system. It's taken me a little bit longer than I hoped, but I want to, put it out when I feel really ready. So stay tuned for that and consider checking out my Patreon to subscribe and join the Patreon coven, which helps support me and you get some bonus content as part of the subscription. And until next time, may you all find yourselves a little bit of makeup magic, and we will see you in the next video. Bye, witches.